Hey guys, Luis here, and like I promised, I wanted to make a video about, cold calling lists that I target. And like I said before in past videos, I'm a big fan of cold calling as opposed to door knocking. I do door knock, but it's more targeted towards listings that I currently have or just sold. But I wanted to talk to you about the several lists I use every single day to target future business. So I wanted to let you know what I do every single day for about 4 hours a day. And if I have no appointments, I take it to the next level and do it all day, at least 8 hours. And that's something you guys should consider doing, just because if you want to be a full-time broker or investor or whatever you want, you have to focus on getting listings or investments down the road. And what are you going to do? Just sit around on your ass all day waiting for people to show up at your doorstep in order to get a listing? It's not going to happen. So what you have to do is be proactive. You have to actively market every single day. And one of the best ways to do that, to reach more and more people, is by cold calling several different types of demographics and lists that are available to you every single day. So before I begin, obviously, I'm a big fan of cold calling. It's helped me build my business, one step at a time. And without that, I would be sitting on my ass all day, just probably, hoping to find some business and being frustrated every single day. So for the most part, cold calling will help you get confident in front of sellers and get confident in front of sellers and just continue to grow your business, for the long run. This is not a marathon. You have to be the tortoise or the turtle, whatever it is, in order to succeed, at least in this business, because overnight success doesn't happen. So let me jump into the list I target every single day. And I just want to remind you that it is a daily habit. You have to set yourself 2 to 4 hours at least every single day to get on the phones and call people. So let's begin. These are the lists, the people that I call on a daily basis to target future listings. So let me just remind you that the scripts I use and I still use to this day are scripts from Mike Ferry and Kevin Ward. Kevin Ward has the Book of Yes, and it's a great book. I think he also has some free resources online that you could download his scripts online. Same thing with Mike Ferry. He has on his website all sorts of scripts that you should practice on a daily basis, at least half hour. And then for objections, let me add this in right now because, doesn't work. For objection handling, for objections, you could use all these lists, but my favorite one is obviously from a car salesman back in the day. You probably know him, is Grant Cardone. So I use his objections handlers and I modify them for the business that I'm in. And he also has a book. I think it's I forgot the name of it, but if you search for Grant Cardone online, he has several books, and one of them is about 140 different closing techniques. All right? And you should be practicing this every single day. So for example, most people come into an appointment or they're on the phone with a seller or motivated seller, whatever. They only have 3 different closes. Well, most clients or sellers actually have 5 objections before they get to a yes. So you have to know at least 8 different closes in order to get I can't say sale, but to get a listing or a potential investment down the road, all right? So make sure you practice every single day Mike Ferry, Kevin Ward, and Grant Cardone's objection handlers. Kevin Ward also has a great listing presentation. All right, so if you use his information, I would use Kevin Ward's listing presentation. That's how I started. Actually, I modified my listing presentation to include other things, but in the end, the base of it is Kevin Ward's listing presentation. So let's get back to the cold calling list. This is a daily habit, and I'll give you some ideas of how long it takes, but you should do this on a daily basis. Daily, all right? So daily, if you're uncomfortable on the phone, trust me, after 50 calls, you're gonna be comfortable. With all the rejection you get, what I do is I have a sheet that I don't know, it's a tracking sheet. How many calls I made, how many contacts I made, because after a certain amount of hours, all the stuff that's being inserted into that sheet, I could then figure out how many calls does it take to get an appointment, and from those appointments, how many does it take to close the listing, and then from that, how many does it take to close? So in essence, it's going to be every 100 calls, you might get a listing appointment. I'm a little better. I'm about 60 calls a day to get maybe 2. But those are actually contacts. So anywhere from 20 contacts a day up to 50 contacts a day will help you generate business, even if you suck at scripts or listing presentation. So if you suck so bad at any of these things, it's okay, because it's a numbers game in the end, and the more people you contact, you'll have a good probability of at least getting 1 from 50. But in essence, from 20 contacts a day, if you're good at your scripts and your listing presentation, you should be able to set 2 appointments or 1.5 appointments. So daily, 2 to 4 hours minimum, all right? Minimum. If you don't do 2 to 4 hours minimum, then you're not gonna be successful in this. It takes a lot of pain to get to the pleasure. It takes a lot of digging to get to the gold, all right? I mean, you're not gonna if you want a 6-pack, you gotta work at the 6-pack, right? You gotta do sit-ups every single day. So you gotta focus for at least 2 to 4 hours a day. Yeah, you can take breaks, but get back on the phones and continue making calls, all right? So I target several lists. So these are mainly for retail. And I say retail as potential properties that might sell on the open market for the maximum value. So for market value. This one down here, the investor friendly one, it's just for investment purposes, which we'll get into down the road. I'll make another video about it. But this is a different scenario and different scripts altogether, which I have them and you can learn from them. It's quite simple. It's, again, getting motivation to see why they sell. So new expireds, every day, I would say if you have $1,000 to invest in yourself every single month, forget about postcards, forget about mailers, focus on cold calling. Get yourself a dialer and get yourself a service. And the service I use is RedX. RedX. But there's more out there. There is Mojo. There is, I think it's Vulcan 7. But in essence, they're all basically the same thing. They help you get phone numbers from several different lists, okay? So these are some of the services you can use. And for $300 a month, it'll pay itself back. So instead of sending out postcards, mailers, whatever, and door knocking, because you can only get to like 10 people a day door knocking unless you really hustle. However, I prefer cold calling because I could get to 100 doors per hour. And with this $300 a month, obviously you could go the cheap route and not get a dialer, but I would highly recommend like a triple line dialer. All right? And these services provide that. You know why? Because what triple line dialers do, if you don't have it, with these things, they have so much information, but you manually, I guess, key in the numbers on the phone, and most of the numbers, I guess 30% at least, do not work anymore, or they're disconnected. So that means you're gonna manually rekey in another one. Some leads may have as many as 8 phone numbers, with 7 not working, and then that last one does work. If you do it by hand, you probably could dial 45, 50 numbers an hour if you got, spirit fingers. But if you don't, then it's probably going to be closer to 35, 40. And then if you're not using a dialer, you're going to have to leave every message individually, which wastes time. You're going to have to rekey in, hang up, potentially pick up the phone, redial, frustration mounts, and you'll probably give up. So I would say pay that extra $99 to $150 to get the triple line dialer, because the triple line dialer helps you dial up to 100 numbers an hour, helping you speak to maybe 5 to 10 people an hour. All right? That's what you want. You want more people to speak to in the least amount of time. If you do it all day and you reach 50 people, then you probably have 2 to 4 listing appointments or whatever. But focus, if you have $1,000 or less, get yourself a triple line dialer and a monthly subscription to one of these services so you can get phone numbers and get to work. All right? Stop being a little bitch. Fucking get on the phone, get to work. You have to go through the pain of many calls in order to succeed. And the more calls you do, it's like a muscle. You're building that muscle. You practice these scripts and you continue calling. There's going to only be several objections they ask, and it's usually the same ones. If it's something weird, just write it down and then answer it later. All right? But at least now you know how to answer that one. So let me get back to the expireds. Every day, a new set of expireds comes from the MLS, from your local MLS. Could be California, Nevada, Alaska, wherever the hell you are. They're not many, depending on the area, but it should only take, with a triple line dialer, up to 30 minutes for the new expireds to be complete for the day. All right? And with the new expireds, use a script from Mike Ferry, Kevin Ward of expired listing script, and just follow it to the T. All right? Who cares if you're stumbling on it? Just keep on going. Same thing with FSBOs. Every day there's going to be 5, 10 FSBOs that think they could sell the house on their own, but we all know they can't. But we just have to give them a shot. It's another 30 minutes. You'll probably get more FSBOs on the line than anybody else. The next step, and the FSBO script you should use, again, Mike Ferry or Kevin Ward. Best things there are. Next one. So I actually target these in this order as well. I could run through these. The next one I target is farming. I am a big fan of farming, which I'll come up with another video, maybe even today, about farming local neighborhoods. Wouldn't it be wonderful, that you live in a community with 800 homes, and then the community next door also has 800 homes? Beautiful. You minimize gas You're already could be an expert of that community. You know what's on the market, and you probably see it. You see signs pop up and sold signs pop up. You could dominate this area, but it takes time. It takes some amount of effort to dominate a certain area, but it is worth it, because for an area of 1,000 homes, right? There's usually some type of turnover rate, and I think it's around 5%. So if it's 1,000 homes, that's 50 homes in that neighborhood. What if you become the expert out of that neighborhood and at least get 50% of those 50 homes? That's 25 listings. And that happens every single year. You don't even have to worry about it. You just have to nurture the farm. All right? So the farming, I use also Mike Ferry, Kevin Ward scripts. However, I don't use the expired or FSBO. I use either a just listed, or just sold. Okay? Why? Because you're not being a pain in the ass. Okay? They've seen a sign go up. And if you don't have any listings in that area, who cares? Go to your brokerage. Look at the listings that are in that neighborhood. And if there's one from your brokerage, use that one. Because your firm is going to be fine with you using those listings to generate more business. If they say otherwise, that's bullshit. So you use these two lists for them. Just listed, just sold list. All right? And farming, just do it for an hour. So I would target I'll branch it out to like 100 homes that day. So that's probably 60 minutes right here. Then, local canvassing. This is very similar to farming. However, instead of targeting a certain area that you want to dominate, this is in regards to listings that you have or listings that you have sold. So you'll target a certain area where you have signs up. All right? You call them up, same thing. With it just listed, just sold, because for every property you have listed or sold, even those 20 around that house are going to, maybe one or two of them are going to sell within a year. So you have to be on top of that. The next list I target, orphans. Well, hold on, local canvassing, the same thing. Just an hour, because 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes, what is that? 3 hours. See what I mean? You're already filling up your time with prospecting, actively prospecting. Orphans, you're gonna love this. It's not talked about much, but I love targeting them. So I took orphans from Tom Hopkins. He's an old school realtor. He has a few books out there, which I love. I mean, I don't love them that much. They're probably like dated. But he explains one thing. In our, national averages, depending on the area, most folks sell again or upgrade, downsize, move on, get relocated every 4 to 7 years. Okay? So what does that mean to you? It means that every month you set aside some time to go to your local MLS. Go 4 to 7 years back. And it doesn't matter what areas. It could be the area you're focused on or the entire MLS. If you have time, do the entire MLS. So let's just say you start just 7 years ago. Okay? You go back 7 years. It's August 2019. So you go back to August 2012. of the people that have purchased a home in that month of August 7 years ago, all right? Or maybe 5 years ago, whatever you want. It could be 100, it could be 500, but boom, once you run out of these people to call, you gave yourself another list to call. And the probability of them selling 4 to 7 years after they bought is pretty high. I like orphans because what does the name mean? The name means that they're orphans. I don't know how else I could say it. But that means they have nobody helping them, representing them. Most of the times, the agents, I would say 90% of the time, do not keep in touch with their past clients. That's why they're orphans, because they don't keep in touch with their past clients. They're idiots. They're probably people that were in the business part-time and now they're gone. That's perfect for you, because now you come in and you adopt these orphans, all right? Once you adopt them, they become yours. For the orphans, I also use the just listed, just sold script, all right? Because the list from Mike Ferry and Kevin Ward segues into, hey, we have a listing or we just sold, do you want to sell? It'll eventually get to those questions, but in a non-aggressive manner. You use the just listed, just sold with the orphans, all right? And if you have 1,000 that bought in that month, you target those 1,000. 60 minutes. So now you have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, boom, 4 hours. All right? Beautiful stuff. Like I said, this is for your retail side of your business. Now I'm going to get into the investor side, because if you're a realtor, you need to know this shit. All right? If you skip off on investor friendly, which I'll get into right now, you're leaving lots of money on the table. Let me explain. When you call all these folks, you're going to run into a lot of people that have A, extra properties, B, vacant properties, C, distressed properties. If you have no clue how to deal with them, it's your fault. You should be able to learn how to deal with investment opportunities. 1, you could wholesale. 2, you could flip it yourself. 3, you could develop land, and so forth and so on. If you want to blow up, this needs to be perfected. Obviously, this helps you build, but this one helps you scale even quicker. All right? So let's get into investor friendlies. Old expires. Obviously, 10 years ago, we were in a bad time in the market. A lot of people had their house on the market and never sold. I still target them with an investor script. All right? All these are, except for rent by owner, use investor scripts. Okay? Old expireds. Most of them have equity, but you want to find those little dirt. So I usually use 2 different numbers. The good thing about these systems right here, or these services, is you could always change your number, right? One could be towards your cell phone, the other one could be to your office line, whatever. So like for me, with old expireds, I actually call them twice. As an investor, I'm Louie. And I use my cell phone as the, caller ID. So I call them. I ask them if they're interested in selling their home as an investment. Blah, 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 blah. I have my own script. Beautiful. Some of them say no. But then once I get the idea that they want to retail, I ask them a few questions and I'll see if I could come in and help them out as a realtor for retail. But I'm also looking for potential wholesales here. Number 2, for rent by owner. Many for rent by owners happened out of circumstances. So that means they found the property or they had to relocate and now they're renting their own home. I use a for rent by owner script. I'm not sure, I think it's a Mike Ferry one. I asked them what their plans are. And if I feel like they want to sell it, well, I ask them, how quickly do you want to sell? So depending on how they answer it, I could be a retail expert. B, I could help them selling it quick as a wholesale. Or C, they may be investors that you need on your list. Okay? And I'll get to that in a moment. So for rent by owner, you have 3 different strategies. You could be a retail source for them. You could be a quick and easy fix for them, like a cash purchase, or they could be additional investors that you need for your list. Tax defaults. Tax defaults are people that are behind on their taxes and they're through circumstances that are, bad. They could have gone through a divorce, a death, they lost their job, whatever reason they couldn't pay their taxes, and now down the road is going to go into tax foreclosure. You want to get to these because they could be potential investment opportunities for you. Like I said, wholesale, flip, or a number of other things. Probate is when somebody passes away and they didn't leave a will. So it goes through the state. Most of the time the family wants to sell those properties. So you go in there as the expert, as an investor, or a realtor. Same thing. The last one is pre-foreclosure. I know times are good right now, but pretty soon or down the road, they're not going to be that good. If you don't call pre-foreclosures, you're doing yourself a disservice. Why? Because A, they could be investment opportunities. B, you'll learn how to do a short sale, which in a bad economy, you need to learn how to do short sales. If not, you're leaving money on the table. Me, for short sales, I don't charge 6% secret. I charge 7 or 8%. Okay? Just because there's more work involved in a retail scenario. If there's enough equity in a pre-foreclosure and the owners just want to get rid of it, you just put yourself in a good position to either wholesale it or flip it yourself. But I have to stress, you need to learn how to become an investor as well. Okay? You'll be so much better at your job. Okay, so this leads me to what's next after you get through all these. Well, what's next is A, you'll have your appointments. And then B, you'll have people that you will have to follow up with. All right? The next important thing about cold calling is that you must follow up with folks. If you don't follow up with folks, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're doing them a disservice. And you're doing your company or your brokerage a disservice because you're being a lazy bitch. You must follow up with these folks. I use the model from Keller Williams because that's the brokerage that I'm a part of. And they taught us, well, this is what I do. I guess a lot of folks don't do it. To stick it in our CRM, right? And once you reach out to these, you reach out to them for like 8 touches. For expireds, it's not 8 weeks. It's more like 4 weeks, twice a week. But in essence, it's going to be 8 weeks for everything else. So they can know you and trust you. Let me explain. For 8 weeks, if it's a foreclosure, if it's a new expired, after you hang up the phone, what you do is you send them a card. Could be a thank you. Thank you for speaking with me. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me. That's touch 1. Then that same week, I don't know, if they're in your farm or local, Sorry about that. Had a phone call and family first, obviously. So where was I? I was talking about the follow-up. Follow-up is extremely important because follow-up is king. I don't know how else to explain it, but you just fucking have to do it, all right? So what I do is I set my Wednesdays are follow-up Wednesdays. I set the entire day to call everybody that I have on my CRM that's to call for that week. So for new expireds, it could be every week. FSBO is the same thing, farming a little longer, but I do it for 8 weeks. Fuck. Again, doesn't work. I do it for 8 weeks, expireds. I do it for 4. And then once they're done with their 8-week cycle, which could be day 1, like I said, you send them a thank you card. Day 2 or week 2, you swing by and say hello and drop them off a business card. And just follow up and just talk to them. And if you have another listing, just call them and start trying to build some rapport with these folks. Try to be the expert of real estate in their area, especially farming, right? Farming and local canvassing. Because with FSBOs and expireds, there's a lot of competition. Everybody's going to be calling them. So just touch base with them once in a while so you could hopefully get one of those listings. But this is more key for farming, local canvassing, and then probably the orphans and other investor friendlies. So once your 8 weeks are done, you set them up on a 36 touches per year. And how I do my 36 touches is, every month they get like a market snap for their community. All right? So that's 12 touches right there. Okay? Every quarter, they get a phone call from me, continuing to build rapport. So they'll get 4 calls a year. 4 calls a year, this is 12. This is 4 calls a year. And they'll get a text message also 4 times a year. 4 texts 4 times a year. Oops. This is 4 touches, and this is 4 touches. So look, you already have 20 touches. All you need is 16 more. The good thing about touches is, see, they could be arranged from, you'll have 6 holidays mainly, right? That you can say, you could send them like holiday cards. I don't know, 4th of July, Labor Day weekend, Halloween, Thanksgiving. I'll stay clear of, like Christmas and Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, just because you don't know what religion they are. So instead of sending them that, I'll just send them a Happy New Year's card. So you target 6 holidays, send them that. So you have 12 plus 8, that's 20, plus 6, that's 26. Leaves you with 10 more touches. And the way I go about it is, if I have a listing or another, wherever my listing is or just sold, I'll send them like a quick postcard for just listing, just sold. All right? So that could be 1 a month. You just, one a quarter. So you can remind them. So that's 4. 1 a month is too many. You're probably bombarding them. So you're now at 30 touches. And then the remaining 6, I don't know, if you're in the neighborhood, just swing by. Swing by, door knock, say hello, but try to get another 6 more in the year. Okay? And that's simple. That's why farming and local canvassing is important, because farming, if you do all this, you'll become their expert in at least a year. So you have to follow up with them for 8 weeks or 4 weeks if it's new expireds. And then once you're done with that, you put them in a 36 touch campaign. And just have in your CRM, just have them, have a schedule for them. Create one and then just send it to them. Other times, You could door knock or you could ask for referrals, but after the year's up, you could include a quarterly referral thing. And then, like, I don't know, if you have a company event, you could invite them to it. I don't know. There's many ways to stay in touch with these folks, but the importance is you have to, A, prospect daily, and cold calling is king, at least in my opinion. And then you just follow up with other tasks. The idea is with 2 to 4 hours a day, you could probably get 2 to 4 listings a month. The beautiful thing about this is once you scale up and get 4 listings a month, instead of you spending on a new watch or a car or fancy things, focus on getting leverage. And I say that by hiring an assistant or somebody, another realtor that you could train, and they're young and hungry, that they could do this for you every single day. And then instead of buying a new house or buying another car or whatever, you live frugally for some time, maybe 3 years, 5 years, and you continue hiring the right people to continue doing this for you. Because if you could do this yourself, right, then you could have a team of 5 people just calling and doing everything for you down the road. So this is like day 0. You get started in a year, 2 years, then you could have somebody doing this for you. And that's how you build time for yourself. You're actually multiplying time. So the trick is just to get started. So for you new agents out there, even experienced ones who have limited, who have limited deals and listings, focus on getting started. Focus on practicing your scripts. Focus on a listing presentation that works. Focus on learning how to handle objections. And once you get good at these, you'll start getting more and more confidence on the phone to improve your closing ratio. And once you do that, you could build off that. And then you hire the right people to continue growing. Because in this business, the sky's the limit. You don't want to be in business. You don't want to waste your time getting your license just to not use it, right? So fucking just do it. Just get on the phones, go through the pain because the pain of doing this is better than the pain of going back to a job that you hate. So what do you want to do? Anyway, I don't know how much, I think I covered enough right now, but if you have any questions, just let me know. Just comment below or give me a call back. I could be reached at this number, 919-578-6829. So if you have any questions or you want to learn more about these lists that I target, just feel free to give me a call. I'll answer any questions that you may have, okay? So I think we're good right now. If I missed anything, sorry, but not sorry. But really focus on doing 2 to 4 hours minimum a day and target these lists. Most important to, least important. And then eventually you'll get so good that you could scale up even quicker by getting bigger chunks of cash or checks when you do flips and wholesales, which I'll get to in a later video. I don't have time right now. I want to take the dogs to the lake, okay? So anyway, again, my name is Luis. Hopefully you enjoyed my video. Please subscribe, and if you have any questions, just give me a call, all right? Well, thank you. Bye-bye.